My name is Carl Blinis. I'm the president of the Friends of Maple Grove Cemetery. And we have members of the board of directors here. We have Chorale, Celeste, Bernadette. We have advisory board members, Maria, and two sons, Giovanni, and Marco, and Shiloh, it's over there. So we have a small but impactful crowd. All right, Maple Grove is a different kind of cemetery. We are parts of, we have art programs and different student programs. We're 150 years old in a few months. So, and Margin is composing a cantata for the 150th anniversary. So that's going to be performed next year. So we have a core meeting soon, and we're going to discuss all the different parts of, and how we're going to, all the celebrations for next year for our 150th anniversary. Some of the housekeeping, because the first thing we do is we have a dedication, because the Friends' mission is to memorialize, honor, and remember those 118,000 people behind me. And what we do is, for every event that the Friends puts together, we have a dedication. And I asked Sharia to read dedication to a Broadway composer who is buried here.
Thank you, Carl, and thank you all for joining us on this rainy Saturday afternoon. This event is dedicated to Vincent Millie Youmans, who was born on September 27, 1898, and passed on April 5, 1946. Vincent was an American Broadway composer and producer. A leading Broadway composer of his day, Youmans collaborated with virtually all of the greatest lyricists on Broadway. He was best known for writing the scores for the musicals No No Nanette, Hit the Deck, and the first Fred Astaire Ginger Rogers vehicle, Flying Down to Rio. Youmans started writing songs while he was in the U.S. Navy during World War I. After the war, he worked as a song plugger, a singer hired by a music publisher to help popularize and sell sheet music, and with composer Victor Herbert as a rehearsal pianist. His songwriting gained popularity on Broadway. He worked with a number of lyricists, including Ira Gershwin, Oscar Hammerstein II, and Edward Heyman. Forced to retire in 1934 because of tuberculosis, Youmans recovered slowly and was unable to work steadily. An attempted comeback in 1944 failed, and Youmans' health once again deteriorated. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, just a few housekeeping. Please, cell phones be turned off. We are recording this concert, and as you see, we have it. Shiloh's going to be taking care of the recording. The cemetery does close its gates at 5 o'clock, but we have the keys. Okay, so you might see the gates closed, but we have the keys, and we have a reception. And Nicole, where's Nicole? Okay, Nicole will be downstairs, and she's our photographer, art photo exhibit for this month, and all the photographs are down there. And Margie will talk about that. And so I think we're ready. Anything else? The receptions are downstairs, bathroom's down in the corner. So if there's anything, just let us know. Okay, thank you.
Close at 6.
With the gates closed? No, gates closed at 5. But we'll let you out. Don't worry. Okay, thank you. All right, Martin.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm thrilled to be here. I've been here a few times, and now this place has turned into really a temple of inspiration for me. As I've gotten to not only do music, but I've met wonderful people, and I want to take advantage of this moment to thank everyone here, every single administrative staff member, starting from the board, Carl, Celeste, Shiloh, and whoever else that I may miss, but also people that have been in touch that have given me the opportunity of really delivering my art here, and also to have the opportunity of composing a cantata for the 150th Jubilee, which I look very forward to. It's really made the connection much more than I thought, and much corporeal. So it's really difficult to describe into words. Today I will be presenting to you my own repertoire. This is a mix of a few pieces of my repertoire from different albums. And I like to narrate my pieces. Later on, we'll turn on the TV and I'll show you some artworks and other creations which have really come out to be as I've encountered the face of my music. Sometimes I find the face of my music in paintings, photographs, in poetry or any other forms of art that inspires me. I'm a synesthetic artist, so when I hear something or I see something, it immediately, it's just inevitable, I translate it into music. And I try to convey to the best I can. So I will play the first piece, and then I'll tell you the story of it afterwards. And so I'll do very briefly with each piece of mine. This piece is called Watersounds. So just, I think the title sometimes is great to know, so you can accompany the imagery with the music in your head. It was a day just like this when I first started studying composition. And I first started at Rowan University, and my professor was very tough. He was those kind of professors that doesn't really say excellent or great, you know. Although later on you get to know these kind of people when they mean yes and when they mean no. But he discouraged all of us at the beginning. He said, you know, all of you should just drop composition, and we gave him our motifs. And so we were, you know, freshmen, we were all discouraged, went out the bench, and a day just like this, we sat on the bench outside the school building, discouraged. And on the way to my dorm, I already composed a piece. And I went back to him, and this time he didn't say you should drop composition. This time he didn't say anything. So we knew that this was a good sign. So, you know, ever since I kept the piece with me, and I think this weather, you know, kind of gets in a different dimension. So I hope, you know, we're lucky to find ourselves in here. The next piece I'll perform, it's called the Reminiscence Intermezzo. The Reminiscence Intermezzo, it's a piece which is very personally related to me because it really brings me back to the memory when I first came in touch with nature, when I understood how beautiful nature is. My grandfather used to always take me on the front bar of his bike, and we used to go around the lake where we used to live. And I used to close my eyes, and I used to feel the sun really bumping, you know, as it goes through the trees. I think we all been through that experience, and just that near moment kind of gave me this epiphany And I kept this theme with me, and every time I think about it, I reminisce about great times. So here's for you, Reminiscence Intermezzo. It's a very cinematic piece, so it's very easy to hear. And I hope you enjoy it. Just to do a little parenthesis, I don't always go with the program. I'm a very intuitive musician, and when I feel some different vibe or harmonics rising, I just jump from piece to piece. But I'll briefly narrate my pieces. On the program, you see that's Chorale. But I wanted to really, since it's the mood today, I have a piece called Bleaker Rain, which is a very difficult piece, but I want to play it here. It's very intense. And this piece is named after Bleecker Street. It's one of my favorite places to hang out in New York City because there's so much vibrance over there, there's so much vividness. And I remember one year I had the chance to play in France at a festival. And I was in Europe for a while, and I kind of missed home. So when I came back, I had the chance to go to Bleecker Street, and it was a beautiful August day. But all of a sudden, the weather changed, everything got gloomy, clouds, and this intense rain started falling, and people started running for cover. So this kind of stirred me up, and I observed it. And when I went home, I couldn't get it out of my head, so I decided to imbue it into a piece of music called Bleaker Rain. So here's Bleaker Rain. play the piece because it depends on the place, on the piano and everything, but I really felt the rain here, and I really, sometimes it's like dangerous because you're on focus and you get into the memory of that day, but I try to restrain myself and stay here. Now I will get to a very different piece. This piece, actually, for a long time, I couldn't name it. It's very difficult, especially for me. I'm very meticulous when it comes to titles. I always like to hit the title that is really going to push my button every time I play the piece of music. And sometimes you have to, do some compromise and, pick a title. But for a long time, this piece I labeled and I identified it by the way it made me feel, not just by the title. And I asked myself, what would a person without a name be like? How would they be identified? It's just, from whatever they feel from within. And every time I played the piece, it made me feel like there's this time lapse going from my eyes. And I woke up one day, I said, time has no face. And I called it Time Has No Face. It's a very linear piece. But the beauty of it is that in every different piano you hear different notes rising up without involuntarily. These are called harmonics, and I'm always curious to see what will rise up if you listen closely. So here's for you, Time Has No Face. This is a very, very different piece. Actually, I'll put this on half stick because this has a big sound and this is a beautiful Steinway piano. Long story short, I'm a composer. I consider myself a composer of many faces. I'm classically trained, but I like to explore and learn different genres of music, neoclassical, new age, and sometimes electroacoustic. But this one is nothing like I play right now. This is not let's say, a melodious and very catchy and easy to follow. This is a piece based on gestures, and these gestures are inspired by the noise that we encounter outside in traffic, or some bumpy or different kind of impacts that we hear. For example, I was in traffic stop one day, and we have a lot of bridges and a lot of objects of metal and steel. So all these kind of things, they kind of accumulate in the composer's head, and I manifested it through the steel Etude. So here's this piece based on gestures. It's a very different piece, as you saw, and I hope you were able to catch the initial gesture on which everything is based off. I'll play it a bit slower. And this is broken down, and that's how you get the entire thing. It's a little bit more technical, but I love to throw in something new age. I think it kind of creates a nice contrast. Now we go back to a piece which is from my latest album, and this is a very cinematic tune. This is inspired by the beautiful skyline of New York City. I always say to enjoy the skyline of New York, you have to be out of New York, Manhattan. You have to go to New Jersey, across the Hudson, so that you can see it from a distance. And I do that very often. I go to Weehawken or Hoboken to see the majestic view of it. And one night, although we don't see many stars in New York, but I felt, or I got the illusion that there were stars. So I composed a piece to that view called Starry Skies. I'd like to step this way and do an introduction in Italian for those of you, but I'll also translate. I happen to speak Italian amongst other languages. So, faccio un'introduzione di un set di fotografie che l'ho incontrato e mi sono date da una persona che lavora qui. E io mi sono ispirato molto da questa fotografia che sto per presentare qui e ho composto la musica per questo pezzo e vorrei ringraziare Nicole che è l'autrice di questa fotografia e vorrei che ora lo traduco. So now going back to reality. So I did this presentation in Italian to say that I've had the opportunity of receiving a set of photographs from Carl about an emerging artist, Nicole here, who's actually inspired me with her set, and I looked at those and I found the music to it, and I would love to present it today, and I will invite here Carl, and I want us to give her a round of applause for the simplicity of the angles that she was focused. I'm not an art expert, but through my own viewer's analysis, there's many more, but I chose this one as the representative to the music because I felt that I was always gravitating towards this one. So here's a little prelude that I've dedicated to this work. Here, to not speak anymore, I'll let the music speak. I felt that I also created another dimension to myself, and I felt as if I were there to kind of witness Nicole taking photographs, walking. So when you hear this piece, I don't only want you to think about the photographs, but also the photographer walking around and capturing these captivating images. So thank you so much. It's a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you. Now we're going to go to a piece of mine called I Found You in Lille One Day. It's a strange long title, but long story short, I had the chance to visit Lille. I'm a French fan in soccer, and I visited Lille when I had a concert in London. Since they're close through launch, I was hopeful that France would win the World Cup. You know, it was in the winter time. And I took the train and no service, nothing, no updates. I was expecting a Lille that was in festivity, and strangely I went there, cold winter day, extremely cold. The city was empty, nobody on the streets. It seemed very, very sad, very gloomy, and it really left me with a bitter impression. But nevertheless, you know, I went over that. That was water on the bridge. I enjoyed the city, and when I came back home, I realized that this was a place of which someone dear of mine had talked a lot about while they had been to on a tour, and only then I realized that I had met this person's soul in there. I felt the presence when I left. Perhaps it's a bit complicated to explain, and I sat at the piano and I immediately composed a piece to it. So I decided to call it I Found You One Day in Lille. I go to the waltz, the Hypnotic Waltz, this is a piece, again, connected to France, but this is many years ago. This is called the Parisian Suite. It's a very different piece. It's much more neoclassical. It's not merely soundtrack cinematic, although it could be. But it's a very, very special piece. I keep it in my other repertoire. The first time I went to Paris, I was initially disappointed because my friends and I chose a neighborhood that was not the reflection of the Paris from the movies or magazines. And it was Stalingrad, that's what it was called. So we were like, wow, where did we go? So we took the subway station and said, let's just give it a chance, let's see. It doesn't seem anything exotic so far. And when I got out of the Louvre station, I was completely mind blown. It was just like in a fairy tale. Clear skies, starry skies. The Eiffel Tower in the distance was flashing. The Grand Palais was having an event with classical music, and it was just, my initial thoughts were completely going through a revolution. So all this turmoil helped me construct my piece, which is a suite in 3 parts. So here's for you the Parisian suite. We have time for me to play a few more pieces. I will play here, since this is a wonderful piano and I love the sound of it. It's a Nocturne. This is my first Nocturne, which I carried with me for a long time. The theme of it, it was inspired by autumn, by fall. So I composed this theme when I didn't know what composition was. It's just pure inspiration. And I was 14 and I carried the theme with me. And then all of a sudden the theme came back, and I had the opportunity of performing this for the first time at Carnegie Hall. And it was a very special moment for me because to perform there my piece, it was, for a composer, it was a dream come true. So I will play for you the Fall Nocturne. I call it a French. You know, I'm a big fan of languages. I think each language is like a different shade that you could put on your glasses and see the world through same world but through different colors. You know, often when I name the pieces in English, everything starts with the. You know, we have this definite article. Yeah. But other languages give you the opportunity sometimes to start straight on the word, which makes it a little bit more elegant. I love Brooklyn, and one day I just went to Brooklyn for fun at Jane's Carousel by the bridge, and it was not in the middle of the winter, but at the beginning of it. So I was just standing there on the railing and just looking at the East River and enjoying the view. And all of a sudden, this big flakes of snow started falling down. You know, just the contact with the water, it was a beautiful moment. So being a composer doesn't help. You know, I had to think of some music. And I really mesmerized by the beautiful nocturnal vibe that I witnessed there. I heard a waltz in my head. I believe, you know, now when I think about it, it's just a white noise that the trains kind of release in the air, and then you kind of sometimes hear voices or melodies. So I captured that, and I didn't let it go, because when you let it go, it feels like, you know, it's terrible. So here's for you the hypnotic waltz, or as I call it, the Valse Hypnotique. One of the pieces that I'll play for you, it's another Nocturne. This is called the Blue Nocturne. As I mentioned in the beginning, I'm a synesthetic artist, and you know, sometimes colors, not all the time, because it sounds like, you know, every time you hear, but you know, there's special moments, just like all of us do have special moments when our focus is extremely intense and we really get catapulted into a transcendental state. So, you know, I'm very connected to the place where I live, and I think we're lucky to live in this beautiful area where, just like in many places, but when you really create this connection with the place and the community where you live, you start really, on special days, really spotting real spots of beauty. And I think nights are beautiful, especially in the summer in this area. New York, New Jersey, and I composed a nocturne to it called the Blue Nocturne. So this is very different from the other nocturne. I hope you'll be able to get into that nocturnal mood through the textures that I play. Let's see. I have a surprise piece. Before I play the last piece called "I Love You Forever," I'd love to do a dedication to a friend of mine who's lost someone very dear. And you know, ever since I learned the news, I couldn't help but hear this theme of mine in my head. You know, sometimes a certain smell can remind you of a place or someone or a certain flower. So this theme, for some reason, reminded me of a conversation with this friend and the unfortunate event that had happened. So I would like to gift this piece to this friend of mine, and I'd like to call it Mother. So here is the piece that I have dedicated to it. It's a soliloquy. It's very meditative, very pensive, very peaceful. You know, and before I play, a lot of people may think that a sad piece may add to the pain, but actually sometimes sad pieces are cathartic in their nature. They cleanse you out of the thoughts, they share the pain, and as a result, that's why we all enjoy melancholic music, or be that happy music. But I just wanted to put a footnote on this so everyone can blend in and be on the same page. This piece, which many people look at the title and they say, "Oh, that's a romantic title." The truth is, I always like to close my concerts with this piece as a message, for love. Be that your mother, father, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, partner, whoever it be, brother, sister. It's a piece about love. So it's called "I Love You Forever." there's something magical. It feels like we can connect somehow. So I want to thank everyone who was part of this myriad of inspiration, because it's really important that to an artist, inspiration and muse to be always present there. So I want to really thank again the board of Maple Grove, Carl, Celeste, everyone here who even created some connection with me. You know, he really has a great impact on the performances and on everything. And I want to thank Nicole for inspiring me with her works, and I hope to stay in touch. And with other people who are creative, you know, if you were just, please let me know. I would love to read your poems or to check out your art or anything that you create, so then I can get inspired to write music for it. So thank you again, and I'll do it another time. This time it was better because we could use our imagination, and I hope I was able to convey imagery in your head.
Thank you all for joining us. We're having a reception downstairs where Nicole will be showing off her beautiful photography. So please join us downstairs, and if you can all take your trash with you, that would be fantastic. But thank you all for joining us.